Welcome to Whiskey's a Journey. My name is Peter Faustino, and today is Monday. I've got another whiskey review for you. Today we're looking at an American single malt. This is the Redwood Empire Foggy Burl batch number 1. Just like always, let's go ahead and pour it, nose it, taste it, talk about it a little bit, add some water to it, and if you stick it around until the very end, we're going to give this thing a score. This is coming out of Sonoma County, California, if I am not mistaken. 47% ABV, which, if you look on their website, I think they made a mistake. If you go and take a look at this on their website, I think they say that it's 99 proof, but it's not. It's actually, 94 proof, but their website says differently. But I guess that doesn't matter. It has everything to do with what's on the label, correct? And this label says just about everything you need to know. It is toasted in char 3 with the casks that they're using. Their mash bill is made up of single malt, but they are made up of more than 7 different types of malted barley, including caramel and chocolate malt. All of those made up 27 barrels. And I do believe, based on what I'm kind of gathering, the oldest whiskey in here might be 7 years of age. Because they were talking about they were laying down barrels for 7 years in a row. If you know any different, let me know in the comments down below. It's a 750 milliliter bottle, and if I'm not mistaken, it was right around $100. So $104.99. And if you don't know, I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. All right, let's go ahead and get this thing on the nose. Tell you what I think of it. It smells already sweet. I can smell it already. Wow, that is interesting. The first thing I got was pear, followed by a cocoa powder, malt, and leather. Tell you what, it smells really good on the nose. It smells very sweet. That cocoa powder, I'm guessing, has to be that chocolate malt. When I'm looking for the caramel malt as well, maybe that comes across as vanilla, but I'm not really getting anything that is resembling caramel. Very pear forward. It has a candy, sugary note. But tell you what, I like the way that it smells quite a bit. All right, let's go ahead and get this thing on the palate. Tell you what I think of it. A little bitter on the arrival. Malt comes through mid-palate, and then I get some pretty good amounts of sweet oak on the back end. It does finish a little bit drying on that first sip, but the candy notes, the pear, that chocolate malt or that cocoa powder is still there. The 47% ABV warms up just a little bit, and on that first sip, that finish, I would say somewhere around medium. There is a little bit of a heat lingering and a little bit of a malty note that's hanging around. So yeah, so I would say probably around a medium finish. The flavors hit pretty quick and then fade away. I'm a little bit worried about that bitter note that showed up right on the arrival. That is that first sip. Can't really always trust that first sip. So let's get that second sip in now that hopefully my palate acclimated to it a little bit, and see if anything else stands out. We'll add some water to it and then talk a little bit about Redwood Empire. Tell you what, if it tasted the way that it smelled, it would be amazing. It's one of those whiskeys that kind of tricks you a little bit. They're like, hey, this is going to be exceptional. And then you taste it and it doesn't quite match up. All right, let's get that second sip. Cheers, everyone. Second sip, bitterness has gone away. There's oak, there's malt, that pear note or fruity note is coming through. A touch of spice on that second sip, somewhere around cinnamon, ginger, pepper, but the cinnamon is a little bit stronger than the pepper and the ginger. So those spices are taking a back seat and that cinnamon stands out. Yeah, I can kind of say that this would be like a stewed pear with a bunch of sugar in it, with underlying notes of chocolate and malt. Second sip was much better than the first one. So what do you say? I take a break and go get some water, and then I can add some water to this. I'll be right back. I jumped right in and hit record even before I had my water. So now that I have my water, see how this goes a little bit. Roll it in the glass. And let's talk about Redwood Empire. They're a fairly relatively new distillery. So like I had mentioned before, they're coming out of Sonoma, California, and they started distilling back in 2015. And with me, I'm always fascinated with how whiskey companies come up with names. And even though these bottles have tremendous artwork, I always wondered, where did the names come from? And then obviously the Redwood Forest, the Redwood National Forest, all of these bottles are named after the different redwood trees that are in the forest. So zipping through this really quick, you got the Pipe Dream, Emerald Giant, Lost Monarch. You have the cast strengths with all three of those. You have their 2 Bottled in Bond, which is their Grizzly Beast and their Rocket Top. And then 3 of their small, what they call them, the small lot series. There's the Foggy Burl, the Devil's Tower, and then they also have a Screaming Titan. The Devil's Tower is a high rye bourbon. The Screaming Titan is a wheated bourbon. This is their single malt. The Pipe Dream is bourbon. Emerald Giant is a rye. Sorry, correction. Their Emerald Giant is their rye, and then their Lost Monarch is the Burr Rye, or the blended. Grizzly Beast is also a bourbon, and then the Rocket Top is their Bottled in Bond rye. They're a grain to glass distillery, and I don't believe they were a 100% or a complete grain to glass distillery until just recently. I think earlier on they were sourcing, and they still might be sourcing some of their stuff for their Pipe Dream, their Emerald Giant, and their Lost Monarch. I'm not positive. If you know any different, let me know in the comments down below. And they're big into conversation. They're big into conservation, and they make it a point to mention that anytime you buy a bottle of any of their expressions, they'll plant a tree. They're looking for sustainability. I guess the distillery is working on ways to conserve water, and the processes that they go through also conserve a little bit of electricity or energy as well. And it's interesting looking at their website, it kind of tells you how many trees they have planted. And I believe from the last time I checked, right before this video, they're up to 1,553,012 trees planted. So if you're looking to support a company that plants trees, go ahead and snag a bottle of this. All right, now that the water has had time to do its thing, let's see if it has done anything to it, and then we'll get on to the score. Well, that peared note is front and center. Yeah, stewed pears, bunch of sugar, cinnamon. That malt is still there, a little bit of a cocoa powder. Yeah, nothing seemed to change too much on the nose. Let's see if the water did anything to the palate. Flattened it out a little bit. I think everything is still there. That bitter note is now coming back. It's a little bit more spicy. Those cinnamon notes are now taking a back seat to the pepper and the ginger. But other than that, I think everything else is there. It is just watered down a little bit, but not too much. I wouldn't say that the profile changed that much by adding, and I thought I added a pretty good healthy amount of water. So even with that, I don't think that the water changed it all that much. So I think this can kind of stand up to the water. Not here to tell you how to drink your whiskey, but if you want to throw an ice cube in here as well, see how that does, might as well do that as well. All around, I would say that this is a well-balanced single malt. Nothing prickly, nothing outstanding. Price is a little bit high for me, but it doesn't detract from how everything is coming together in the glass. So let's go ahead and move on to the score. If you're new here, I rate everything out of 5 stars. Based on how this held up to the water, all of those sugary pear fruit notes that are coming forward, I like the malt, the chocolate note, the ABV is very good, with the exception of that bitter note that is coming and going in the glass. Not a fan of that, but everything else is pretty well put together. I like this quite a bit. So rating it out of 5 stars, this is gonna be right up there, pretty close to 4. That bitter note is holding it out of the 4-star category. So I'm gonna put this at 3.99. If that bitter note wasn't there, this would be a solid 4. I like that much. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you have had Foggy Burl or if you've had anything from the Redwood Empire collection, let me know what you think about it. Are they overpriced? Are they overrated? What do you think? And before I let you go, if you made it this far, just a reminder, I do have an August giveaway going. I have all of the rules in the description below. Just go ahead and read through those if you're interested in supporting the channel. Every increment of $5 gets you 1 entry into the giveaway. I am throwing in my Bardstown Bourbon Company First Friday Flight Fight into the giveaway. So if you're chosen, you automatically get that for free. Well, not for free because you're donating to the channel, $5. And then from there, you can choose 6 2-ounce samples of anything that I reviewed in the month of August. So if you're interested in that and you're interested in supporting the channel, I will greatly appreciate that. And while you're at it, if you're not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. If you like this information, turn that bell notification on because I produce videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And share this with somebody in the whiskey world that you think might get enjoyment out of it. All right, that's all I have for you. I'll see you on Wednesday with my Sip It or Skip It series, which I'm coming up on my 100th episode, probably in the next, actually, I think it's at the end of the month in August. So if you are interested in that one, absolutely turn that bell notification on. All right, that's it. We'll talk to everybody later. Bye.